Your matric final exams have begun and you're probably feeling a lot of pressure. And honestly, that's okay. Feeling the pressure means you care. And that's the first step towards reaching your full potential in these exams. This is your chance to showcase everything you've worked for this year, especially since these exams count for 75% of your final year's mark. But with a solid plan and the right mindset, you can turn that pressure into motivation. In this video, I will share some tips and advice you can use to mentally prepare yourself for your final maths exams and really your matric exams in general. Also, the link to this Google Sheets NSC Final Mark Planner is in the description below. Tip number 1. Write down your academic goals and put them in a place you look at very often. This can be on your bedroom wall, above your study desk, or in your diary, planner, or any notebook you use often. You can even set it as your lock screen's wallpaper on your phone. Just make sure to put it in a place where you will constantly see it so that you are always reminded of your goals. Tip number 2. Create a study timetable. Study timetables are a great way to effectively manage your time. Knowing how to manage your time is the key difference between working hard and working smart. Now, I must apologize for uploading this video in the middle of exams, but I really hope this will still be helpful. To help you guys save time, I have also created a study timetable template that you can edit according to your liking. The link to it is in the description below. Tip number 3. This one is kind of obvious. Know your study material. It's very important to make sure you have studied the textbook knowledge in every subject. Now, I know in maths, there's this misconception that you can't actually study maths, you just practice it. This is not completely true. You'd be surprised by the amount of questions you struggle with because you do not have enough textbook knowledge for it. Here's an example from the November 2023 Paper 1 exam. In this question, we are given a quadratic number pattern where term 1 is 3, term 2 minus term 1 is 9, and term 3 minus term 2 is 21. The first question then asks us to show that the fifth term is 111, and this is for 2 marks. Textbook knowledge will teach you that the only sequence in a quadratic number pattern where we can predict the next terms is in the second constant difference. Since we already have the first 2 terms in the first differences, their difference will give us the second constant difference. And since this difference is constant, every consecutive second difference will be 12. We can then use this and the first differences we have to find the 4th term and finally the 5th term in the pattern. The second question, as you can see, is completely based on textbook knowledge. So, ensure that you're familiar with all the key concepts taught in textbooks and that you know how to use all the formulas provided in each topic. Lastly, when practicing past exam papers, make sure to work on the question first before looking at the memo or a tutorial video on the solution. Tip number 4. Create a strategy for the order in which you answer questions during the exam. Your Maths Paper 1 focuses on 6 topics and has about 10 to 12 questions. And your Maths Paper 2 focuses on 4 topics with about 10 questions. Remember that each paper has to be completed in 3 hours, so plan your time effectively. There are different approaches you can take in answering these questions. Some learners may work on questions they are more confident with to boost their confidence as they progress through the paper. You could also decide to start with bigger topics first, like trigonometry in paper 2. Regardless of the strategy you use, as long as it worked for you during the prelims or the trial exams, it should be safe to use. Just keep in mind that as you progress through the paper, your mind may not be as mentally strong as when you started off the paper compared to towards the end of the paper. Also avoid spending more time on questions that do not require that much time. Since the paper is 3 hours long and worth 150 marks, to complete this paper on time, you should spend an average of 1 minute and 12 seconds per mark. So I would advise you allocate 1 minute for every mark in each question. Keep in mind that some questions can be completed in less than a minute despite scoring you more than 1 mark. Tip number 5. Get a good night's rest before your exam. I wouldn't recommend cramming in extra practice at 3 a.m. when you have an exam in a few hours. It is important to let your mind rest so you can think clearly and perform at your best. Tip number 6. Walk into the exam room with confidence. You've done all the work and now it's time to let your hard work pay off. So be calm and confident. Sometimes you struggle to understand a question because you've already convinced yourself that the question is too difficult and you just can't understand it. When you feel like this, don't panic. Take a few deep breaths, calm your nerves, and carefully read the question again for understanding. Okay, those are the 6 tips I have for you guys. I hope this video was motivating and helps you keep a positive mindset during your exams. All the best for the rest of your exams, and I hope to see you guys in the future videos. Bye!